Commissioners' work session for Wednesday, October 23rd, 2019. Review of work session discussion meeting minutes.
I didn't have anything to add to them.
I'm good. Department head report. We'll move to solicitor.
Okay, I'll go through the resolution list first because it's pretty brief, and then I have some other matters to discuss. There are 28 resolutions listed for tomorrow. Number 2 is for the cleaning contract. It's for the Human Services building. It's an adjustment from the contract that's currently in place for this month. There's an additional bathroom that's being cleaned, so that's just an amendment. And then number 20 is the Human Services cleaning contract that will start in November for 2 years. That's the permanent project. And number 17, you'll see something for liquid fuels. That's just an amendment to the State Line Bridge. That project has been completed. It was just an addition. They ran into some extra rocks that they had to have removed. But that bridge is up and open. Some other matters that I want to briefly touch on. We got the RFPs for the homeless shelter. There were 2 companies who submitted proposals. I spoke with Lisa Signor yesterday. She's going through those proposals. I think what she would like to do is meet with the board next week in order to sort of give some overview of those proposals to the board. So Cindy, if you can work out a time to meet with Lisa next week that fits with the board schedule. There was an article in the paper today about a lawsuit against the sheriff that was unbeknownst to us until we saw that article in the paper. At this point, I don't have any further comment on it. I haven't fully been able to process the complaint. We haven't formally been served with the complaint. It deals with 3 previous deputies who were fired by the sheriff whenever he initially took office. So I don't really have anything to report other than what's listed in the paper because I haven't been contacted by the attorney who filed the complaint, the insurance carrier, or anything along those lines.
Did you say it names the county?
The county is named as a defendant in the case.
How does the paper get a lawsuit that names the county and we don't know?
I can't answer that. Yeah, we haven't been, there has been no contact with the attorney who filed the complaint on behalf of the plaintiffs with us. The complaint, according to the document, was filed on Tuesday, and we haven't received a copy of it formally.
Is it federal?
It is a federal court case. That's where the previous case was filed at.
Okay. I'm sorry.
You didn't get a chance to read the paper yet?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
So.
Did you know the complaint?
Well, I just saw it this morning. I mean, the basis in the complaint itself has to do with there were 3 officers who filed a lawsuit against the sheriff whenever the sheriff came on board that were terminated. There's allegations in the complaint that there's been statements made by the sheriff that have been in violation of an agreement that was signed off by all the parties whenever the case was resolved.
So the deputies that have already sued us and we paid
Are suing the
because
sheriff
of
and the county.
violation of the contract that we settled on.
That's correct. That's my understanding of it, correct.
What are they seeking?
Money.
There's no dollar around that. I didn't read the complaint.
I don't
They don't do that.
yeah.
Is that something that's covered by our insurance?
Well, we haven't formally received a copy of it, but we would turn it into our insurance company once we formally get a copy of it.
Who's named on it? It's the county?
The county,
The sheriff.
the sheriff, and the sheriff individually.
And him personally, too. Okay.
Personally?
That's what, yeah.
The sheriff. Beaver County generally is listed in the complaint. Beaver County, the sheriff, and then the sheriff individually. Trying to work through the meetings for the rest of the year. The way currently, and I was just talking to Corey now, we would have a voting meeting on November 14th and December 12th. The second voting meetings for those months would fall on Thanksgiving and on December 26th, which the courthouse is closed for both of those days. Corey's intention is to have a preliminary budget available on November 20th, which would allow us to vote on it on December 19th. So I think what my recommendation at this point would be that for voting meetings in November and December, we have a voting meeting on November 14th. We have a voting meeting on December 12th. And then we would need to advertise a voting meeting on December 19th for the purposes of passing the budget and any resolutions that were to come up.
We need to advertise for the 20th as well, correct?
No, the 20th is a work session.
Oh, okay, so we can, okay.
Right. So if that's all right with everyone's calendar, I think that's what we would like to shoot for moving forward.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. And then aside from that, have some personal matters that we need to discuss in executive session.
Any questions for the solicitors or about any of the resolutions or any other business? Board of Commissioners.
I just have two things. Courthouse flooding update. Has a decision been made whether we have to replace the drywall?
They're still drying. The drying is going very, very well with the fans, and I told you they drilled some holes for ventilation. That's working good. It's the bathrooms we're having some problems with because it's tile, so it looks like they're going to have to do some demo work in the bathrooms only. That's as of right now.
How about the ceilings? Are the ceilings?
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably have to replace some tiles and stuff like that, but it doesn't look like there's going to be much demolition as of right now.
Okay. And the other thing is the parking garage elevator.
The parking garage, I met with representatives from Robinson Pipe just yesterday. They are going to come in next week and with a push camera go down and televise the lines themselves like we discussed last week to see if there are any blockages. Now, it was raining pretty good yesterday. It didn't seem like anything was backing up. It was taking it. So we'll go from there.
Thank you.
And I think that something came around about you ordered some cold patch.
They're there today.
Awesome.
They're-
That's an update on Brush Creek.
Yep, they're patching.
Someone who, yeah. that-
Are they cutting out the sections?
No, it's just
throwing it in.
patchable. Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
That's not going to last too long.
Well, we're gonna pave it in the winter months and then in the spring, the full swirly part. The loop is the winter, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah, the back loop will be taken care of
Good.
this winter, and then the rest of it will be milled out, taken out, and replaced.
That's what has to be done, has to be milled out, redone.
At must.
I had, since the discussion about the Maple Syrup Festival has been talked about, I've had a handful, maybe 8 people contact me to tell me that they would like to step up and help. And usually social media is a lot of negative, but I've had a very positive response. People are genuinely understanding of, we have new voting machines being used in 13 days or 12 days, whatever it is. We have reassessment of homeless situations. So I think people are really understanding in that fact that there's a lot going on, and the community would really like to see that syrup festival. So we are meeting with the Conservation District, what is that, next week?
Next Thursday.
And we'll try and get a resolution, or at least just find out the facts of what's happening. So tonight is the New Brighton Halloween Parade, big night in New Brighton. Traffic is crazy there, so plan on your way home. And this weekend we have the zombie event in Brady's Run. And we also have Halloween haunting at Old Economy. Okay. I'm looking to Tim, Director of Tourism, as a nod as yes, that's correct. So, very good. Is there any updates on the hotel tax audit? So we done, we have 2 done,
2 are complete.
2 are complete. Quick.
Third's, I'm waiting to hear when the third's going to start, the student thirds.
Okay, good. That's all I had.
The only thing I have is the Board of Commissioners, the Law Department, IT, and Assessment met with one of the 2 companies, Tyler Technologies, who submitted an RFQ for the reassessment last Friday. This Friday, we'll be meeting with EST, the second company, and then I think once we meet with them, we will start discussing probably pricing. We did ask for
Contracts.
Contract or price proposals from Tyler, and we'll probably do the same for EST this week. But I just want to let everyone know we are starting the process to complete what is mandated by the courts for us to do. So that's all I have.
Our decision will be made, one of those 2 companies by, what's the date?
We have to be under contract by January 15th.
Very good.
Any other business? Audience participation. I'm going to do them, then we'll do you guys. Is that okay? Go ahead, Mr. Woolley.
Oh, quick question. Has the hotel tax audit uncovered any difficulties or any problems, or is it worth continuing to pay for the audit,
It's worth continuing on it, Jack.
but not because anything has been found detrimental?
I mean, it's a matter of procedures, and I'm actually, they're finding some errors in which wrote some taxes, so it's a matter of continuing to push the process.
And they are going to cover all the hotels, even those that have not registered?
A third of them, of the lodging venues, don't report any exemptions. There's nothing really there to audit along those lines. We're actually auditing the exemptions that they're claiming. So, making sure that they're accurate. So we have 10 that we've identified right now. As those go, we may continue into the next 10, depending on how, if we start to see a pattern where there's no value in spending money for collecting money. I mean, it's tough to justify spending $300, $400, $500 to collect 11.
Yeah.
It's when you said there comes a point of return you got to look at, but
As long as that's being looked
right now
at, that's good.
We're doing the big ones right now in regards to have the highest amount of exemptions, and that's what we're working our way down.
Any other audience participation? All right. Move to Mr. West.
Thank you, Commissioner. Look, as you know, the Planning Commission is working on the 2020 census, and we're trying to get everything coordinated. We're still moving forward with it. I have Rachel and Catherine here. They're going to give you a few words from the census. I'm going to just give these packages to the commissioners here.
Thank you.
And also just remind everybody, I emailed these out to all the municipalities and all the organizations yesterday. If you know anybody looking for a job for the census, $16 an hour. They're going to be interviewing people today at the Beaver Area Memorial Library. That's right up the street here in Beaver. And tomorrow at the Beaver Valley Mall. At the time at the Beaver Valley Mall, they'll be interviewing people from 10 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. And here at the Beaver Library from 12 p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. So if you know anybody looking for any extra work or looking for some work, $16 an hour. You know, there's some flyers left in the back. Just tell them to get down to the Beaver Library and get over to the mall for the interview. I guess get these right here to the Times. Everything else. Yes.
Hope she writes a good story.
And this is census is very important. It was $1 million worth of funding for every 1,000 people, so it's very important.
Okay, well, thank you for having us. I'm Rachel D'Onofrio. I'm a partnership specialist with the U.S. Census Bureau, and Katie is also as well. And we recently had some shifts in our areas, so we're trying not to skip any beats and fill in where they recently left off. There has been a complete count committee formed, and we are working to pick up where Sheila left off. And what I gave you in your particular packets, the commissioners, there's some information that you might be able to share via social media. Would be wonderful. We can get you digital copies of these. And it just talks about how the census is a count of everyone living in the United States. As you mentioned, it's done every 10 years, been done since 1790. And it is a count of every single person living in the United States, and it is important for $675 billion of funding that gets distributed to the states, as well as our representation for our area as well. And the other information I put in here is about counting children. Children are actually one of the most missed groups of people, and yet there are individuals who benefit greatly from federal funding. So we need to make sure that children are getting counted. And also in there, I put in one of our job flyers. If you could post this around somewhere. We also can get you digital copies, but it's great to see these in windows of voices that people trust. And then there's also a cybersecurity. Your responses are safe for any populations that might be concerned that their data is not kept safe. If you wouldn't mind posting one of those around. And a way that we can help battle making sure that children do get counted. I just put an example of one of our statistics in schools flyers. There's a whole slew, over 100 different enhancements to curriculum. It's not actually curriculum, but they're very well done. This particular one is an example of apportionment and how it's done, and they are for children K through 12, and they even have English as a second language and adult second language learner information as well. They're really great. So this one I found interesting. If you look at Ohio and Pennsylvania, you can see Pennsylvania, for example, lost 1 seat in 2010. Ohio has actually lost 2. So just gives you a real world look at the importance of the census. But this is a way we can get into the schools. And oftentimes the children are the ones who actually go home and educate the parents on the importance of the census. So we just wanted you to have some tools in your hand. Katie's going to talk about some events that are going on currently.
Yeah, right now, as Mr. West had mentioned, we are doing a national hiring week for our recruiting. For the census, we need over 500,000 jobs, and that's hundreds of thousands of jobs just in this area alone. So jobs start around $16 an hour. The only requirements are they must be 18, a U.S. citizen, and be able to pass a background investigation. But all of the Beaver County area libraries are on board. Some of them will just have some information, but you can send people to those libraries to have them complete the application online. But for this area, and I live up there in Grove City, but I know $16 an hour is an excellent starting wage. Especially for what we have going and everything. But they are temporary jobs, flexible, weekly pay, weekly training, and they get paid mileage. So please make sure you spread the word, get it out there as much as you can, because we need those people to make sure we can get an accurate count for Beaver County.
And also this morning on my drive in, about between 8:30 and 9, WVPM, I hope I got those letters right, radio station, interviewed our media specialist in our area, and she did a wonderful job. She spoke on the recruiting events that are going on, and it's all Beaver County libraries are on board. Some of them have a person there. The one down the road will, the recruiting manager is actually going to be there teaching all day today. But anyway, she did a wonderful job. The announcer did a wonderful job as well. I left him some information yesterday to actually, you could tell he studied up, and he talked about the importance of the census, why we do it, and it was very well done. So they reiterated the why we do it and the need for people to apply. So just wanted to let you know, if you get a chance to somehow look that up on Facebook or a recording online, to do so. It was really well done. And you might even want to share that via social media too. Okay, so any questions or concerns that we can answer while we're here?
I do have one. The transient workforce of 6,000 people, how many of them will show up on the census here? Or will they go to their home states for census?
Well, if they're going to be living here, we would like them to be counted here, but that's where we need to help with you.
Yeah.
We need to determine where those locations are that they are at. If they're renters, if they're staying at maybe possibly a shelter, those are how we need your help, so we can let our people that, it's called group quarters, which is they send people out and they will count the colleges, the homeless shelters, at the soup kitchens. So that's where we need your help to be able to know where those locations are. So.
But this is 6,000 people working across the river
Mm-hmm.
that will likely be here another 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Are they likely to be part of
They're gonna
our
want to know
census?
where they're at on Census Day, April 1st,
Oh,
2020.
So,
okay.
yeah,
So
so
that will
that's
be,
how
a-
the census
that will be
taker-
a better count here,
Mm-hmm.
which is also going to be better.
And our goal is to count
For our
everyone
county.
once and only once and in the right place. So there's all kinds of behind the scenes processes that take place if somebody would say their family member counted them back home and yet they were living here. There's processes that can sort out, you know, that no, they were living
Good
here
luck.
April
There are a
1st
lot
of
of them.
2020.
Yeah, those 6,000 people probably gonna be counted as Beaver County residents.
Because they live here.
They live
Yes.
here,
Right,
yeah.
if they live here on April 1st, 2020, then they
Yes.
will be counted
If
here.
you got a kid in college up in Slippery Rock or somewhere, I don't know whether they probably get double counted. Because or they get counted, if they from Beaver and they go and turn to Slippery Rock, they probably gonna get counted up in Slippery Rock and group quarters, right?
Group quarters,
Yes.
Yeah.
correct. In the colleges and hospitals, there's a few different ways that they could get counted and they have a choice. And
They can decide to be counted at the location, or they can be counted with their family where their family lives. So
How do they determine that?
it's honestly going to be a family decision. Some family members may have a strong sense that they want their child counted with them at home, and others may not really worry about that, and they don't mind if they're counted at their college. Honestly, it's while we say where they're at April 1st and or where they spend the most time, for something similar to that, it's going to be a family decision.
And it's sort of like the county jail, those people in the county jail are counted as residents of Hopewell, because the county jail is a Hopewell. So if you got 600 people at the jail, that's
Yes.
residents of Hopewell.
No, we don't have that
This is
many
the right
beds.
We can only hold 320, so.
Stand in room
There's no
only.
reason to go to jail.
So Joe, I had listened to you speak at the, what was it, the History?
History Center out there.
History Center, and where Sheila was
Yes.
there. And I had asked at that time, and that was, what, a month ago or so, is there was this conversation brewing about the question on the census of, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Was there a decision made on that?
it's not on there. I have a sample survey if you'd like a copy.
So it's,
in my bag.
that's a final decision?
Yes.
It's,
10
10 short questions. Yeah.
okay. And then I did listen to the radio this morning and heard that you can participate in the census online now?
Yes.
And
First
on your
time ever.
phone?
Mhm.
And at the library, you can fill out your census. So
Correct.
that's interesting. And then Joe, whenever you spoke at the History Center, and I don't remember the numbers, but for every person equals how much tax dollar
I think
that
every
will-
1,000 people is like $1 million in tax revenue.
in revenue that we get.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's
very-
why it's so important that we count everybody so that we get our funding that is due to us.
Yeah, if you're undercounted, you could lose a congressional seat. I think the state's looking at it, and I think if Pennsylvania, you could lose some House seats too, I think. I think
Yes.
Pennsylvania might drop down, we'll lose one, yeah. So it's very important to get counted, because you also lose representation in Congress
Correct.
and the state
Yes.
legislature, you know.
From what other conversations that I've had with other people from my counties, because I cover Mercer and Lawrence County as well, there is thought that Pennsylvania will lose at least one, possibly two. So to make sure we don't do that, it's important that you complete your census.
Now, what happens, it's done every 10 years, and right now, Mr. Woolley had brought up the fact that we're gonna be up 6,000 workers, and so we're gonna probably get increased funding because of that. Now, in 10 years, when we do the census, we're gonna drastically drop, maybe. We don't know.
Right, we can't
Yeah,
speculate.
it's, right,
But,
yeah.
I'm hearing some of these workers want to stay.
That's
because they love it here.
Mhm. Right, that would be a good problem to have,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
And there might be another drop.
All they need is a job.
Yeah.
You talk about group and residency. Are you working with the hotels? Because as those 6,000 workers, there are people that are commuting, obviously, don't live, aren't staying, but the 30-day plus stays, those would be what, so there's a mechanism in place to capture that?
That's a great point. We actually, our job as partnership specialists is to work with everyone in the community who can reach particularly hard-to-count populations, and transient would be considered one of those hard-to-count populations. So just by you saying that, that gives us new ideas and places that we need to visit to get them the information that the census is coming, that it's important, and that you can expect to see people coming in February is when the group quarters take place. So that's a great
Maybe
idea.
here, I think that's where you're going to find some success.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. for
Thank
your
you.
time. I appreciate it.
Any other audience participation?
I just want to let everyone know, especially the folks from Rush Creek Park, I just got notification from the Parks Foreman, Mark Kramer, that they had to close the gate at Rush Creek Park. They're trying to pass the road and the traffic's in and out, so we had to close the gate so they could get this work done. So just an FYI.
So it's just closed, it's closed out front all the way?
Yes.
How long?
Hopefully today.
We'll post it and we'll have Dan Raymond and Doug Sledge, the office know.
For your FYI.
Thank you, I heard you.
We'll put that on Facebook too, on our.
Any other audience participation? Hearing none, will we need to reconvene from executive session? No. We'll adjourn and move into executive session. Thank you.